King really should have killed Zoro when he had the chance, because it looks like the pirate hunter is about to master the power of Enma, and things are not looking good for the pterodactyl man.
You done fucked up now!
Powerful Nerdcast assemble! Stay dandy, baby. Greetings, my fellow Nakama. Put on your bandana, sharpen your blades, and get ready to yell Tsunachi, because it is a Zoro-centric chapter, which of course means it's incredibly badass. This was a fantastic chapter of One Piece, which is focusing a little bit more on the battle between Zoro and King. But before we go further in my review, I would like to ask all of you, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. If you are already subscribed, make sure you're always hitting that bell button. It'll let you know when all of my videos are released. And of course, if you do like my videos, use your Santoryu style and hit the like button. I would also like to invite you guys to be a part of my Patreon page, where you guys can make a small monthly donation, which will go a long way in helping to support this channel. Not to mention, I would love to add your name to this list of all these people that you're currently seeing on screen. These people are going out of their way to make these donations. I cannot thank you guys enough for that. It really does mean a lot. But let's go ahead and draw our swords for the latest chapter of One Piece, which was just a tour de freaking force. But before we get to the badassery, we gotta talk about that cover page. And it's so appropriate that Tashigi is going to be on the cover this time. In this very goofy-ass scenario, we have Tashigi, who is wearing some sort of weird shark hat as she's being chased around by a bunch of penguins who are being make-believe heroes. Essentially, they're all just playing a game, and it's very cute. You also have Smoker in the background, who is, well, smoking. It's highly appropriate that Tashigi is on the cover of this chapter, as she has a strong connection to Zoro. When she was introduced into the series for the very first time, I was highly convinced that she was somehow Kuina, who had survived and gotten a brand new personality. But no, she's simply just a reminder of Zoro's long-lost friend, and she also happens to be a sword enthusiast herself, so it's very cool that she actually is here. But now, let's go ahead and get into the chapter itself. Most of this chapter focused on the battle between Zoro and King, which to me is just an awesome thing. But there are also some really great flashback sequences which were tying into Zoro's past at Shimotsuki Village. I can't believe that 1,033 chapters later, we're finally starting to get a little bit more of that material. It was a long wait, but I certainly think that it was worth it. But we also have one small scene between Sanji and Queen. We get to see what happened after Sanji kicked the hell out of him in that one last battle, sending him flying through multiple walls, and yet Queen just manages to get up and keeps on talking. This guy is going to be very tough to take down, and he continues to mess with Sanji's head, talking about the Lunarians themselves, and how he was commenting that Zoro was actually communicating with him, and how his battle is just not going to be won. The Lunarians were essentially gods. They were incredibly powerful, being able to exist in any sort of atmosphere in the One Piece world. And Sanji, of course, begs the ultimate question, then if these guys were so powerful, how are they taken out? And Queen simply responds that you're going to have to look into the history to learn all about that, before he ends up blasting him with a massive cyborg attack from his giant Brachiosaurus jaws. Then we get to Zoro versus King. This is where things start to get really awesome. Of course, the actual battle itself is more of the same, but still getting to see more of Zoro's classic techniques and just seeing how insanely powerful King really is. I really do love how throughout the course of this entire battle, though, they managed to focus on all of the individual swords that Zoro actually uses, and as King continues to attack him, he almost continuously loses them every time, and they end up being sort of like a segue to like a small flashback. Even we get to see more of King utilize that one ridiculous technique where he like stretches out his head and like uses it kind of like a giant rubber band, and it's so powerful it takes out an entire chunk of Onigashima. But we get to see as this battle is going on, he is starting to lose his swords, and like I said, this allows him to sort of reflect on each and every one. The first one being Sandai Kitetsu, which was the sword that he actually got in Logtown from that dealer, Ipponmatsu. Again, it's kind of awesome to see flashbacks of characters that we literally haven't seen for like thousands of chapters, but still it's there, and it proves that Oda has maybe had a plan for all of this entire time. And of course, during all of this reminiscing about swords, Enma is continuously sucking all of the haki from Zoro's body and basically transforming him into a living skeleton as he struggles to control the super powerful sword. But during all of this, it also gives him a chance to try and reclaim his Wado Ichimonji yet again, which is arguably his most important sword. It might not be his most powerful, but it's key to Zoro's development. It's what pushed him to be the character that he is now. It's the sword which originally belonged to Kuina. And this is where the pieces of the puzzle finally start to come together. Ever since Zoro has arrived in Wano, he's been learning a little bit more about the mysteries of his swords, where they came from, and how they directly tie to the village that he grew up in. Just the name of the village now has more meaning behind it than ever before, Shimotsuki, and that's because it was actually founded by a man from Wano who goes by the name of Kozaburo. Kozaburo wasn't just an ordinary Wano citizen. He wasn't just a samurai, he was a swordsmith. He's the one who has created a lot of these powerful blades, in particular Enma, which was essentially his life's greatest work. The sword that was utilized by Odin, the sword that Zoro is struggling to use now. And as fate would have it, it just so happens that Zoro actually knew this old man. He just didn't realize how important he was when he met him when he was a child. In fact, when Zoro was going through his training with Kuina and his father, he actually met the old man on a number of occasions, who managed to actually help him out and teach him the importance of swords themselves, knowing that they're simply not just tools, they're things which are designed to kill someone, and you have to take them seriously. They also finally address the whole cursed sword thing. They're not necessarily cursed, but because they have names and titles behind them, there's a certain amount of intimidation about them, to the point where they've been sort of like lifted up as like these legendary weapons, and if you don't have the resolve to use them, you're not going to be able to use them properly. And not only that, but this Kozaburo is also the one who is responsible for the phrase of Tsunachi. This is the one that Zoro has been imparting to Momonosuke, the one that was used by the samurai when they attacked Kaido, and it has a pretty cool meaning. Throw away your name and wits. Basically, lay it on the line, give everything you got, and throw yourself into battle using a super epic and powerful sword. And that's when the big old light bulb goes off in Zoro's head. He realizes the only way to control Enma is to give it exactly what it wants. It's not to hold back on the Haki, it's to let it overflow with its power. It's to become worthy of the sword itself. Enma, the sword, is quite literally testing Zoro to utilize it to its most powerful abilities. Also, I just gotta mention this one moment where Zoro just knocks out all of Kaido's men with his Haki. That was just perfection. And the chapter ends with him reclaiming all three of his swords as they all get covered in this awesome, fiery-looking lightning Haki. And then he prepares to go up against King, who claims that he wants to be a king himself, and that Zoro is simply here to live up to the promise of his captain and his best friend Luffy to become the greatest swordsman in the entire world. My god, this chapter was epic. It got me rock hard. So what's the rundown on the latest chapter of One Piece? If you can't tell, I really liked this one a lot. I'm a little biased. I'm a huge Zoro fan. He might be my favorite character from the entire series. And this is the battle that I've been waiting for. I mean, don't get me wrong, Zoro has had some amazingly badass moments throughout the series, but I felt that ever since we got to the time skip, he hasn't really been living up to his full potential. And again, I need to stress, the dude has had some super epic moments and some amazing fights, but this one right here is arguably, I think, his greatest that he has ever had. I mean, his opponent alone is really fun, but the fact that this is all tying directly into his backstory and the use of this amazing sword, which has ties to his village, people he knew, and also very important people within the lore of the One Piece world, has got to make this one of the biggest Zoro-centric stories of the entire series. And it makes perfect sense that the author was waiting for this moment to get to Wano to finally flesh him out just a little bit more, and here I really think it's starting to pay off. I love all of the connections to Zoro's backstory, as well as introducing the character of Kozaburo and how he's connected to the creation of all of these swords. I think it's really great. And as for the sword Enma itself, this thing is going to be all sorts of destructive when Zoro finally starts to unleash its full potential. I mean, you gotta realize, it's not like his other swords are bad or anything, but I mean, they don't even like scratch King. This Enma sword is going to be insane, and yet at the same time, I have a feeling that it's not just going to be like a one-shot against King. I have a feeling it's only going to reveal his true abilities when we finally get to see all of that black leather removed. Basically, the Enma is going to destroy that, and we're finally going to see him for the Lunarian that he is, and that's when he's going to unleash his true potential as well. You know, I'm looking forward to Luffy versus Kaido. I'm looking forward to Sanji versus Queen. But for me, for my money, the most exciting battle of this entire arc has got to be Zoro versus Queen. And I don't know how it's going to go down, although I have a feeling it's all going to involve Zoro mastering the ability and unleashing an attack unlike anything that we have ever seen. An attack so big that everyone on Onigashima is going to feel its effects. And damn it, I cannot wait to see when it's all going to play out. This chapter, though, right here was a fantastic build on Zoro's backstory, getting to learn a little bit more about these swords and the person that created them, who's also single-handedly responsible for creating the village that Zoro grew up in as a child. Everything perfectly connects in this chapter. I loved it. 5 out of 5 from me, but I'd love to hear from you guys. If any of you guys did read this latest chapter of One Piece, please tell me your thoughts about it in the comment section below. What are you hoping to see from the rest of the battle between Zoro and King? When he does master the Enma ability, what sort of like fighting style do you want to see from him? Do you want to see a brand new attack? How do you think this battle is going to go down? Is he going to be able to take out King that easily with his brand new sword? Or is this fight really only just beginning? Basically, let's just talk all about this chapter in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. I'll see you all next time, and as always, stay dandy, baby.